Welcome, welcome. I hate networking. I hate it, but it is what it is. Alright, let's get back to it. Um, yeah, we're putting board space unit in the perspective package, and something. Yeah. It seems our tests are single-threaded. Is that what I want? Probably not. Let's look at the diff to make sure I'm not just crazy. The board space unit.go file, maybe it belongs in perspective. Maybe. Um, board space unit refers to distances relative to the tiles of a room. That is, an entity is always placed every entity, so every position in the room is every position that a entity can every entity is always positioned at this gives us a natural geometry to describe entity, door, furniture, secure locations. Oh, it's like, why are my keystrokes not working? My hand was off by one. I don't think this comment adds value, so let's not do it. I think it makes sense to put board space unit in its own file. The question becomes, do we want this? Well, that's what we're going to remove next. Refactor, put space unit in the perspective package for cohesion, really. Okay. Let's use a few places, yeah. But that unused thing can be removed. We're really refactoring right now. Let's clean up. Clean, drop, unused, interface. Okay, in house viewer, yeah. Now, model view to board returns floats. because it can be mouse position to board position. And you can click on the bottom left corner of the tile, for example. Hey, Stefan. That's going. How you doing? Welcome back. I'm going to give you a quick demo of what we got. We got broken textures, but look at this. There's like furniture and stuff, and it's not lying along the floor. And if he comes back, there he is. Look, he's not like a floor mat. He's actually standing up. Started learning C yesterday. Wrote 2 programs for now. Super proud of them. Good. I think if I would ever recommend anyone to a specific language, I would recommend C. Because if you can learn and understand C, you really learn and understand memory, and that is like really important for so many things. But not enough people, I think, spend enough time and effort to learn it enough. If that makes sense. Yeah, I'm happy to check them out. Like 40 lines each. Yeah, send me a link. Oh, yeah. Um. Mhm. Mhm. Mod HI. I would have expected mod I. Maybe I just. Man, that's super tough. Uh, where's the man page for the formatting? Also do some criticism if needed. HI because it's short and not just an int. Yeah, I guess I'm not familiar with the H part of it. One of those, yeah, rather than int. Okay. And then I guess it was HI, right? Not just an int because why not? Yeah, makes it smaller. It makes no difference. Yeah. I guess like I saw mod HI. So is that gonna say? HI for signed, HU for unsigned. Ah, yeah, signed. Okay. Yeah, usually I is like the default, so I don't normally see it. Okay. Yep. The computer chose such and such an option. You chose. Mm-hmm. Invalid choice. Return non-zero. If they're the same, it's a draw. And then you just see if like it's you know you could do like the delta is you could do, I mean, if you wanted, uh you could do like choice computer minus choice user is some difference, and then you can look at that mod 3. So like a -2 would become 1, right? Or like a 1 would stay as 1, 0 would stay as 0, or whatever. And then you would just need to say like if delta 0 tie, if delta greater than 0 computer win, or you know modular arithmetic. Yeah. But yeah, that's good. Uh, this might be the OG way, and might be the right way, but uh, it's odd to me that we'd have to bother with a time, because it just needs an unsigned int, right? So if you do, you ought to be able to do. Oh no, time of null is look at the current clock. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Man. Unfortunately, time is a very overloaded thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, Most of these shouldn't fail. Scanf might fail sometimes, like if you put in a value that's too big for an int or something, but um, at the end of the day, the value is going to be something, and it's either going to be between 1 and 3 or not. So, yeah, no, that's good. I like it. Forgot about that. Not super good at math. No worries. That's just I've just done that a bunch of times, so it comes to me. I didn't need anything better for this. Yeah, it's good. Then Simple C Hangman game. I'm trying to think. Does C let you elide the sizes? Like this will declare an array of 10 arrays of length 9 each. But like if you ever change this, you'd have to make sure to update your indices, right? But a lot of the time I see um, jar. Yeah, okay. So you need to know how many strings to allocate, I think. No, I guess it needs both of them, right? No, okay. So you need to know how much each underlying buffer would want. Uh, but you don't need to say when you're declaring it like this and you're actually assigning it to something uh, as part of the declaration. You don't need to put the first one. And so if somebody else comes along, you can do that and it'll still be good. Um, you don't need to know how many words. Yeah, just as part of the top level declaration. But the other thing is like if somebody, you know, something that is really long, right? That's hopefully your compiler catches it. But another way to do it is just say, well, instead of having arrays as part of the type, you can just say this is a I don't want a pointer to an array. I want an array of pointers. So uh, if foo is an array of I'm trying to remember the rules now because I think this would mean that foo is a pointer to an array of char. We can do this maybe. I don't I don't remember the exact syntax here. Yeah, it's like this is the wrong one in that it's a pointer to a slice of yeah. It might be this. I would have to Google it. Um, doing C89 though, I don't know if it makes a difference. It shouldn't. It should not. Uh, why am I struggling with this? C declare array of pointers to jar. I got the binding wrong. I got the binding precedence wrong. So the way I think about it is that the when you're declaring something in C and you like stick a pointer into the type, it actually binds to the name. So for example, what's a good example? Yeah. The classic example is if you have an int pointer to bar and baz, right? Uh, so baz actually has type int and bar has type pointer to int. Um, so when you do like a multiple declaration like that, it kind of is not the pointer doesn't go with the int, which is what you would expect. It actually goes with the name, um, if that makes sense. So I kind of messed this up in that the pointer goes with the name, and then it's a Yeah. Now this is I'm getting warnings because I'm in C++ mode. Um, but yeah, we don't want to be modifying these. And so um, declaring it like this means you can have this go long and it doesn't really matter. The reason this works is because you're basically saying uh, constructor pointer. You're declaring a bunch of string literals. Um, and then saying something like right, and it's these static string literals are assigned uh, memory as like a global variable, basically a global constant, and the compiler does the wiring for you to get the pointer to it when it resolves symbols. But yada yada yada. Uh, Specifically assign or setting a size for your buffer is harder to change, harder to uh, evolve than kind of letting the compiler do work for you, right? Uh, and so here, like, there's 9 arrays of length 10, it looks like. Uh, is it 9, 10? 10, it's an array of 10 buffers of length 9 each. But like even for me, like I claim to know C, and I still don't know off the top of my head if it's 10 nines or 9 tens. Um, at the end of the day, it's just 90 bytes, but yeah, 10 strings of 8 non-null characters with it. Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, rand. I don't think you need the brackets here, but it doesn't hurt. So you pick a random word. Time again. Have 3 wrong guesses. Yeah. Hey, Busser. Trump and Starmer announced $250 billion investment into UK-US tech sector alongside an announcement that they're opening 12 new nuclear reactors in northeast England. Crazy. Yeah. Is this this might not be portable. Um Yada 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 variable sized allocations on the stack might be a GCC extension. Uh like Strlen and Word runs at runtime, right? And it counts how many non-null characters there are in Word. Uh, hey, this is worrying. So here we declare. Let's say Word is 5 characters long. Uh, is that a VLA? Variable length array? Yeah, yeah. I need to sign that with malloc. Not like this. Uh, yeah, you could just have like the zeroth element of words be like the buffer that you use, or assign it separately, or something. But um, yeah, variable length array. Uh, you don't need malloc. Plus or nose. I don't. uh, yeah, you could just make a buffer big enough to hold whatever that happens to be the choice. Um, let me Google this. Let's see, variable length array. C99. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, the if it compiles for you, it'll work. If it doesn't, then you'll fix it. But the thing that really jumps out at me is um, we're assigning to this location. So let's say the word is cool, right? So strlen of word is 4, so you're gonna allocate 4 chars on the stack. But that's char 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? Whereas right here you're assigning to guest at 4. That's one past the end. Um, but how is it variable length? It happens only one at beginning. Variable length in terms of compile time constant uh, or runtime determined, right? Uh, is what it means when it says variable length. Um, it's not changing at runtime. It's just not known at compile time. Yeah, happens at runtime because of the rand. Yeah. So depending on what word is actually picked, you know, strlen of word might be different, and that's the variability that they're talking about in variable length array. Um, Variable length array is kind of like a how do I describe this? In my head, right? It's like an array always has a fixed size, and that comes from the definition of an array in like the C language spec. Uh, and that's just an arbitrary choice that they chose for C. You can work in languages where that's not true. But certainly, like when you talk to a lot of people and you say array, they're probably going to assume a known ahead of time size, and ahead of time here means at compile time. Uh, and so when they say variable length array, that really tells me not an array uh, at runtime. Sorry, let me back up. That really tells me that it's at runtime it's an array, so it will have a known size, but at at compile time it's when when the variation is happening. I really don't like that name, the variable length array. I would have called it like uh, runtime length, runtime known length array. Um, because like you said, it's not changing. Um, it's just that the code that the compiler emits can't know exactly how many bytes each time through. Um, for this, if you want to treat guest as like a C string, you would have allocated strlen of word plus 1, and then the you would still assign to strlen of word. It's C strings are null terminated, right? So you actually need strlen plus 1 bytes to store that string. Yeah. Um, yeah. And no, you're not dumb. It is the classic foot gum of C and C++ is these off by 1 errors and null terminated strings. Yeah, you did exactly that for allocating 9 bytes for an 8-character string. Yeah. The other thing is you don't need to null terminate the string every time through the loop. You just need to do it at the end. Um, I think the way I would have declared or written this would have been something like I wouldn't have declared it there. I would have declared it here. I think that's a C89 plus thing. You can actually declare things in the for loop. Um, so instead of strlen of word, it would have been strlen of word plus 1. Uh, but I would also set it to this. Let me just fix my compilers. Stdlib. Or is it string.h, probably? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't initialize a variable length array. That's right. Uh, I would have done memset guest. I think this is I think I'm in C++ mode, so I'm getting a lot of different errors here, but not plus 1. So this is the null terminator. Um, what is that upset about? Mm. Clang is happy about it, but sorry, I gotta catch up on chat here. Uh, Another way, I'm not a C dev, so I'm clueless, but isn't there a stdlib function that guarantees to put the null at the end, assuming you provide the size of the buffer? Yeah. So even if the input is larger than the buffer, it just truncates it. There's a lot of different string manipulation functions. If you want to see them, string copying, I think there's like there's 17 different ways to skin that cat, and they're all subtly different and have their own foot guns. So memset means set memory. So it says the memory at this pointer set this many bytes to this value. So set all of the first strlen of word bytes to underscore. I guess it technically you could do like -1 because you don't need to set the last byte to the underscore before you overwrite it with null anyways. And these compiler warnings are killing me. Stdlib. I think is memset. No, it's in. Oh, that's making it from CPP. Yeah. All right. Whoa. Thank you, Vim. Yeah, plus I used to use this macro while playing around with C. That way I'd use either count of or length of, depending on what I wanted. Uh, and then looks like Stefan updated his base bin. Why is this upset? Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not constant. We're writing to it. Thank you, compiler. But yeah. So you could do something like this. Yeah. Let's look at the paste bin again. Noise. Yep, this is good. This is the time to do it too, right? Like right away. And then all of them are underscores. Yep. Uh, it's like old school style to declare your loop indices outside of the for loop. Um, just a style thing. Uh, you can update paste bins. What the hell? Yeah. I'm also surprised. Maybe Stefan has like a premium account or something. I would have assumed this was like a hash of the content, but it is not. Uh, you do C89. Oh, okay. Uh, and I guess that's a requirement for C89. It doesn't have the 4 in there. Cool. This might need the same +1 here. You can just edit it. Oh. So if so you print out the underscores. Underscores won't match initially. So if they're already guessed more than 3 wrong, womp womp. Uh, Put a letter. I'm not sure why there's a space here. I'm not sure if you need it. I wouldn't have thought you'd need it, but yeah, why C89? Because I want to make a code work on most old hardware. C99 support on everything by now. You need it because of the new line? Well, presumably that would match before the actual character. So if I'm typing, you don't have a new line there. Yeah. Um, I would put the space here as part of like the prompt, right? Um, I mean, it'll work. Uh, so you store copy generates before version of the array. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. If that one is what you had, then fill it in. Yep. Um, if there was no change in the guessed array, increase the wrong count. Yeah. You have that many wrong guesses. So I guess the way you worded it, you can only have 3 wrong guesses before the game ends, but you're comparing against greater than 3. Uh, so I think you have like 4 total guesses, right? Uh, you need the space there. If you don't have it, it counts the new line as a wrong letter. Oh, okay. I think I understand. No, I don't think I understand. Uh, I'd have to look at the man page, but uh, well, I guess if we trace through it, if the guess is wrong starts at 0, and so they get a guess, and then gets incremented to 1, so they get a guess. Incremented to 2, they get a guess. Incremented to 3, they get a guess. At 3, this is still false, so they get a guess. Uh, so if they miss on their 4th guess, yes, they're done. But if they soul read it on their 4th guess, I think they'll still win, right? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Sorry, my dog's going nuts. They still have a chance after at 3 wrong guesses. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Just the way I read the instructions, uh, 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing. Yeah, but it's 3 strikes and then you're on you're in do or die mode. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, my package delivery system is working as intended. Dog barking. But yeah, we got to be careful about length of buffers. You'd probably want this to be the same length as guest, so that when you do the stir copy, um, as written, guest will have stir line of word non-nulls and then a null, but guest before only has space for the non-null bytes, so you'll need to add one there. Uh, Space there I need because it counts user pressing enter as /n, and it is counted as a wrong guess. Oh. So like if they don't type something and they hit enter, I see. Uh, Nvidia invested 5 billion into Intel today as well. Wang backstabbed his cousin. It's over. That's wild. Um, but yeah, I guess Stefan, you're saying like if they don't type a character other than new line, the scanf will assign that new line to the string, and that's not what we want. Um, Even if you type a letter and press enter, it is looked at as letter /n. Uh, really? Hold on. Why am I looking at this? Okay. Uh, okay. This is why you have the space there. Um, does scanf walk the input until /n and adds it as well? Yes, it gets entered as /n as well. Uh, Depending on the cluster, it might depend on the format specifier. Certainly a mod C, which is just like give me a character. Um, that's not going to worry about uh, whether it's a new line or not. It'll assign the new line. But if it's a string, it's any number of non-white space characters, stopping at the first white space character. So it depends on which format. Um, it'll walk until it matches the format specifier you give it. Yeah, C wants any character. Yeah. Um, I think the if you had like just if you had that, right? Uh, I mean we can try it, but if you have like a bunch of text, it should only get the next byte. Functional reading ignore any whitespace characters encountered before the next non-whitespace character. So um, the leading space should like eat leading spaces. So you should be able to enter like space K, and that'll guess K. Um, yeah. 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 That's weird. Let me test it as well. So I agree that mod C should be capable of reading a slash n. I'm just not seeing why it would see a slash n if you had, your guess and then a slash n. Um, oh! I think I understand. Okay, okay. The It takes the slash n not from before you type your first guess, but from after you hit enter on your first guess. The next time through the loop, it's going to see the slash n. Yeah, yeah. It's the second time through the loop that you see the slash n, right? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. It it makes sense now that you're saying it. I guess it was just I was hoping to process that slash n as part of the first guess. Um, so I might have done mod C space. Um, so wouldn't it be better to flush slash clear the buffer than after each try? Um, yeah. The other thing you got to worry about is like, what if somebody types C spot space A space T, right? Then they chew up guesses without any feedback. Um, but now I'm just trying to break it. But yeah, okay. So ignore any white space, which may be slash n's from previous guesses or spaces. So yeah, it's probably better to do it this way because then if somebody is hitting space before their guess, that's okay. Honestly, I would put a space before and after just because it kind of documents the whole like drop any white space, get one character, and then ignore white space again. It would be superfluous, but it would also be kind of self-documenting that we are ignoring white space. Um, and then yeah, your stir copy here does right past the end of this buffer. You'll need to +1 here. Uh, Whenever you see stir copy or mem copy or any of these functions that copy arrays or you know spans of data, um, it warrants like a reread, and it's very easy to get it wrong, especially when you start changing things up here and then you leave things alone down there. Um, if it was space mod c space, you would never confirm the input. Really? Input sanitizing is so tiring in C. Yes, it is. Um, all right, let's not do open them and start writing big boy. Yeah. Thank you, Diahex. All right, so file one. Uh, and we'll just control C to get out of there. All right. Here, let's not print the character. Let's print the ASCII code for it. Oops. So then if we do this, STUF, what? STU V? No. 102. Let's look at it next. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's not seeing the. Okay. Scanf is fun. Yeah, no. Um, okay, so if we type enter, it's it's still here. No, it hasn't broken out of the scanf yet. We hit A space. No, I broke it. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Why? If I type go tell CDevs that they got to get their shit straight. Yeah. If I scanf, skip any white space. Give me the next character. Oh, and it needs to match. It needs to match white space before it'll. So really, the other thing to remember is that we need to look at the return value for scanf. Um, it returns how many characters it read, I think? Item successfully matched and assigned. Yeah. So int num red if num red. Oops, too much to go. Let's match. This is probably only the case where it's FEOF, but would mod 1s work? I still have more coffee in front of me, I forgot. Mod 1c. 1s means one string. No, it means a one character string. Yeah. It, one should be implied for C. But what if you want to just guess the whole word or multiple letters at once? Yeah, that's not usually how I play Hangman, but I think if you wanted to, you could make it do that. Taking a string buffer, saying that. Yeah, I think what I would do is like read till the next new line, and then uh, and now how long of a buffer shouldn't be using scanf to read variable length strings. Uh, yeah, C. Ugh. If it wasn't exactly one, let me just change this back. Um, oh, yeah. Okay, so I've just typed FOO, and then I hit enter. So what should happen? We were already blocked on the scanf. There's no leading white space. Okay. Does leading white space? When people say C is easy, it's a simple language. It is a simple language, but that doesn't make it easy. um, what am I looking at here? Say if there's white space, including none white space. Okay. So and then we see the F, and one space can match zero or more white space. So that's a match. We should finish the scanf call. We got the char, the thing. We come back around. So if it was O and then a new line, see when I hit Control D, that should close the stream. So scanf will have to return, but it's able to get it. What? Love C so far. It does exactly what it's told. Yeah, yeah. I just write it into a 256 and discard anything that overflows and iterate over it, skipping balance band chars like new line, etc. Yeah. Um, I would probably do something like get C. Uh, maybe that's frowned upon, but uh, not gets or puts, but get C. I'm just trying to think like, why would we see this behavior? It'll be obvious once we figure it out, but until then, it's not very obvious. FOOBA. Oh, okay. I know why it's. I understand now why it is not coming back yet. Because there might be more characters that are spaces. It might need to eat more new lines and spaces and stuff. And it's only when it sees something that is not a space that it can actually return. Okay. Barf. So yes, your space mod C nothing is the right thing to do. Ugh. All right, I need a quick break. Need some coffee. Yeah, I'll be right back. But yeah, I think the lesson is that scanf is actually for structured data, um, by which I mean uh, it's it's very difficult to use these functions correctly, and it is preferable to read entire lines with fgets or getline and parse them later with scanf or more specialized functions such as stir to L. Yeah. Um, scanf is nice for somebody's producing like a tab separated value output. Like df is a great example. Uh, so if you look at what this is doing, it's a token and then some space and then a token, some space, and it's a very consistent format. Um, that's where scanf shines. If you're trying to read user input, where it's like you want to respond to keystrokes and support editing, like what if we did this? Um, it's different. Hey, bossy. So if we type foo, we get. Oh, sorry. So bossy, for context, we're learning all about why scanf is evil. um, so it looks like my input is buffered, but there's a thing you can do where it's like f. How do you set it to be non-blocking? Or something? There was a different way. It's not non-blocking, is it? It's unbuffered. It's too many things. C set to unbuffered, and that's in the standard library. Um, anyways, you see, nice. Um, yeah. What's a good way to explain buffered versus unbuffered? Long story short, when I'm typing, I'm sending input to a program, and that program is either going to send each keystroke individually, or it's going to wait for a chunk and send that as a batch. Um, so, like for example, if I type FOO backspace K, it gets the F, the O, and the K, but it doesn't get the O that I backspaced. Oh, internet issues again? Probably. Stream has become laggy. I don't think it's you. I don't think it's you, Vasi. I think it's me. Um, but yeah, if we do something like set debuff, what was it? Haven't helped me on copy pasting code from AI. We're basically vibe coding. But yeah, if you set stood in to use no buffer, um, you'll see something different. I think. Nope. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. My result self-illness was on my end. Yeah. Long story short, I/O is actually complicated, and scanf is for structured data, and probably the better way to do it is uh, getc. So yeah, it uses file pointers though, not file descriptors, which means wait, I thought stood-in was a file descriptor. No, they're file pointers. Never mind. I thought it was like uh, just ints, like FDs. Um, did I learn? Man can be used for more than just Unix specific tools. Yep. You can use it for many things. Another nice man page is the ASCII man page. So you get a little ASCII table in compact form. Um, but it's also like config files. So like man sshd config. It's like, here's how you talk about a, well, I guess that is a Unixy thing, but there's man pages for config files. There's man pages for man. But yeah. All right. Let's go back to haunts. I've had enough C fun for now. All right. So are the tests passing? I think they are. I was considering what to do about this. So this really takes a screen space X and Y and converts it to board space fractional tile position. Mossy says made a fuzzy finder for NeoVim workflow as a way to replace my plugin. It's actually faster. Nice. I piped commands and redirected stood in and stood out using existing Unix tools. FCF, echo, awk, tree, RG, bat. What? Bat? I know echo, awk, t. I don't know what those are. I'm sure they're somewhere, but do not know FCF or RG. You only get the man pages if you have the packages installed usually. Um, Echo, there's user bin echo and there's the built-in bash echo. Awk is, field-based parse and transliteration. Ripgrep, okay. Fuzzy finder, okay. What's bat? Version of cat which shows syntax highlighting and prettier printing. Oh, very good. Today I learned. Um, but yeah, like the Unix pipeline construction is like very nice, very nice. Every time I use awk, I have to relearn it, but it's always a treat. That is what I show as my preview for the fuzzy finder. Yeah. What's the difference between grep and ripgrep? Uh, let's find out. Recursively search. and get ignore. My rip grep is ACK. I use a program called ACK for that. So you can do that, or just list the files, get counts, that kind of thing. It's faster than standard grep, I believe. Yeah, I like ACK for ignoring uh, file types uh, like the what you call it. It's going to ignore like swap files. It's going to ignore CVS entries, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it's just same problem, different tool. And grep has to like read everything. Whereas ACK will skip it. Sent you a preview of it on Discord. Oh, thank you. I'll have to check that out later. I swear, we're gonna work on haunts. Let me know what you think. Yeah, for sure. It's actually rapid. Oh, rapid. Okay. So yeah, we'd have to set up a screen space unit for these guys. We'd have to set up like I don't even know what to call it, like board space unit, but fractional. And then, yeah. But necessary to click to support clicking on to support clicking to support subtitle resolution when clicking. But yeah, yuck. In my head, I'm like, I want to get rid of bug 47. Maybe bug 47 needs to just evolve. Yeah, I don't know why this is happening. It's probably a separate bug. Force unit is great, but but we can do better. Use a type for fractional board space unit. Use a type for real valued board space unit. Distances. Right now it's a mix of float 32 and float 64. And then use a type for screen space distances. And now it's distance. I do want to look at this. Is this still happening? Make level 1 is just a quick way to start a given level. But it's weird. Even added control queue to populate the quick fix list with the FCF entries. Ooh. Do you disable control S in your terminal? Every time I hit control S, it's like, where do my keys go? And then it's like, oh yeah, I gotta hit control Q. Maybe I should just get a better terminal. But yeah, this happens when we make level 1. It's weird. as some cases rotated compared to the game normally. Docs. Explain a bit about what we're missing with respect to space unit. Okay, so I think that's enough for the cleanup. Oh, yeah, we should probably make sure that the editors can drag things. Are the editors going to work at all? Probably not. Ooh, none worky. We can simulate an earthquake, but we can't pan. Okay. Let's write a test. I'm trying to think, where should we do that? When I hit Control G, we open the furniture editor, I think. I guess it's the room editor panel. We're probably going to want to prefactor this out into its own file. Okay, to the prefactor. This, go here. Instead of having everything in room.go. Viewer. I'm going to do this. Room editor panel. All that should go in the room editor file. tab widget. Uh, this should be it's a part of the widget interface from glop. Um, what? Of course, they define widget in GUI and not in widgets. I think my internet is poop. Bad internet. No. But yeah, the like respond with a GUI and event group given bool. I want to factor that out to be its own interface. Um, Because there's a lot of things that do the respond and do respond for that matter. And they should really be embedding the interface, not redeclaring it. All of this should be in widgets, like embedded widget, basic widget. That doesn't belong in GUI.go. What does belong in GUI.go? widgets should be just GUI widget. What's in it? Anchor box. Why is there not an anchor box? Why is this called widget?
My God.
This is going to be a lot of moving around, but I think it's going to make me less angry to actually have it organized. Uh, there's a generic cleanup thing, 42. Vertical is sucky. Use make select. Oof. I, I'm sure somebody at some point had all this in their own files, and then they were like, "This is stupid. Let's put it in one file." I disagree with them, so I'm going to put them in their own file because that's what makes sense to me. finalizer, CA. Oh. Here's a question. Will the Go garbage collector even decide to ever delete it? Because it's got a reference to itself. Go. Garbage collector circular reference. Mark and sweep. Okay. Okay. Thank goodness. So that means like none of these references will get marked, so they'll get swept or swept. Okay. Widget parent might better belong in widget. Core widget, embedded widget, all of this belongs in widget. I won't bother with like a GUI basic widget and such, um, which may or may not end up being good, but yeah. Why should a child? What? Why? Why does the checkbox need to declare childless? No, it's not that it declares childless. It's that it embeds an instance of the childless struct so that it doesn't have to do its own get children. Things on the GUI struct, that makes sense to define in GUI.go. Make and make logged as free functions in the GUI package, returning a GUI object. That makes sense. Making sure GUI implements the certain things. Yeah, missing font error. Nobody uses it except here. I'm already panicking. So unless somebody is trying to intercept it in a recover, we don't need it. Okay, there we are. I agree, self. I agree. Um, this we don't need to export it. It's not used. What? There's no references to it except for the definition. Oh, we're whoops. I should have been running the tests where I was making changes, not somewhere else. Okay, so we don't need this or these. We're done. Yay. even better. What else should we get rid of here? Root widget? Oh yeah, we're getting that out of here. Get out of here, root widget. Select box here. Wow. Uh, is this like not even used? Like, right, I think I'm done for today. Uh, let's just do this. Refactor, split some stuff out of the monolithic. Because, my goodness.